We're back again. Smack Talk Wednesdays, as always, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. Pacific. Another week closer to Power Slap number 11. We get a couple more matches announced. We've got Luke Simon taking on Garrett Blakesley. We've got Wes Minna and Devin Jenkins in the heavyweight division. This card is starting to look very nice as we get closer to that January 30th date. Brittany, what's been good this past week?
Good. I feel like everyone is just back into the stream of things 2025. I feel like, you know how there's that kind of weird lull right after the holidays where it's like people are slow to respond. You know, me and you were working right on the first day of the year. We had 6 p.m. New Year's Day. We were doing this, but yeah, it's been a great week. Excited for everything we have coming up, and was very excited that we will be live streaming the big event coming up. And also I saw, was it February 11th? We have new player cards being launched.
Yeah, the 7th. Unfortunately, League Trading Cards got pushed back a couple of weeks. I'm sure if you guys followed our Instagram, you're seeing some more preview of the cards coming on. I thought it was super cool that we actually have face-off cards. So Ryan Phillips and Damien DeBell from their historic match, in Power Slap for the heavyweight championship belt, getting both those athletes on one card, going to have the autos on it. There's going to be variants to it. They're going to have like of 10s. There's a red of 5, and then they're going to have a gold vinyl 1-of-1 chase. So real excited to see these cards come to fruition and everything around that. We know that there's 41 total cards in the set, one of them being Dana White. So 40 strikers in this debut set, and Leafs anticipating to do 2 or 3 different sets of cards in this coming year, which I think is super cool because there's a ton of new strikers coming into the sport continually, and those strikers will be getting cards as the sets continue to roll on throughout the year. We've seen Jackie Cataline, Sheena Bathory, the rematch that everybody has been anticipating.
Yeah.
We got the interviews in. They're posted up on our YouTube channel right now. And in some ways, they're saying all the right things, but then we're also seeing some other things kind of take place here. There is definitely some animosity between these two athletes, and it's going to ramp up as it gets closer to the event. And I think, and this is just my prediction, is I think things are going to take a turn for the worst or the better, however you want to look at it. And I think things are going to get a little spicy. I think it's going to get spicy. Don't you agree?
Yeah, they're both very, very feisty and, want that title. I know both of them personally. They're so competitive. They both, have tons of experience. So it's going to be a show.
Yeah. I mean, they both train MMA. Obviously now Sheena just coming off her victory in MMA, training incredibly hard. She hasn't been training this hard since she was in America, moved back to Hungary, to be with her family, and is very, very focused in this time. So really excited to see how she's going to, how she's going to prepare for this, because we haven't seen her training this hard, and she's had a sustained layoff. Hopefully there's not that quote unquote ring rust, to her game. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's been over a year since we've seen her in Power Slap. Jackie Cataline has continued on in Power Slap in impressive fashion, racking up victories and staying active, obviously, with, competing MMA Invictus. I mean, she's planning to do an MMA event, I think, like 8 days after competing in Power Slap in Saudi Arabia. So think about that. You're going to fly to Saudi Arabia, fly back, and then get ready to do a match, in Invictus 8 days later. They're very ambitious of her, to say the least.
Very ambitious.
Absolutely. Our first guest, Lauren Wise. I had the privilege of watching her match front row, and was sitting beside her guests in the front row of the auditorium. I don't think she actually even knew that I was there to see it, but so we're able to actually see the event, and it's great to see her perform for the first time. And so let's bring her in and let's talk to her about her entire experience and get to know her more.
Hello.
Hi, Lauren.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Amazing. I definitely did not know you were front and center next to my guest. That's crazy. How very cool.
Absolutely. I didn't want to say boyfriend, husband, wife, friend. They're just friends works for now.
I think that's a good way to, why don't you announce that? What just happened right after the fight?
I have a fiance.
No, congrats.
Yeah. So you were next to my fiance and our best friend.
Amazing. Amazing. Talk to us about the entire experience. Was it more than you thought?
No, it's exactly what I thought it was going to be. The overwhelm, the lights, just the fast paced environment, all the adrenaline. It was everything that I assumed it was going to be, and a little more. You don't really know what you're getting into until you're up front and center.
Absolutely. It seemed like the more you got slapped, the more you loved it. Are you okay?
I might be a little bit of a psychopath. Honestly, you're completely right. The longer I was up there and the more damage that was done, the more excited I got, the more adrenaline there was, the less I felt. And honestly, it was like every hit I was energized. That sounds crazy. You don't really know how you're going to take a hit until you get it. And apparently I like getting hit.
I thought it was, yeah.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think it was a great analogy when I was talking to you. Share what you said earlier. You compared it to what?
Getting hit by a car. I got T-boned by a car at 35 miles per hour a couple years ago. And that first hit, it was very comparable.
And she's smiling while saying this.
Yeah, it was more fun though. It was honestly getting hit by a car. I was like, oh no, am I okay? But getting hit by her, I was like, this is crazy. I'm okay. Like, this is fine.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like you could have went a couple more rounds. You seemed like you were ready to go. Everything was there. Just everything that I've seen, you seem super motivated as well to continue on. Obviously, getting the victory definitely helps. But, talk to us now about where you are sitting here today and what that day-to-day looks like from you, from both mentally and physically, as you get ready to continue on with your career.
Absolutely. So I have no idea what's next with Power Slap. I'm very eager to continue. I'm very eager to have a new opponent and honestly take what I've learned, become better, become stronger, and come in with more power. Because with the weight cut that I experienced, 13 pounds down, I lost a lot of strength. So getting up there and hitting, I was a little bit disappointed at how much force I was able to push onto her face. It was a lot less than expected. So this time around, I'm ready to train harder, get a stronger neck, because for sure I need to work on my neck strength and be able to hit even harder than before with all of the knowledge that I now have from having done at least one match. I feel like I'll be way better prepared.
Absolutely. Ding's joining us. Have you met Ding before, Lauren?
Hey, hi, it's Lauren. Great to see you again.
Hey, good to see you.
I wanted to ask you, Corey and I and Jeeves had the pleasure of being able to watch your match live. You just had this real confidence about you, even though it was your first time. It's not something that we're used to seeing for people who are making their debut. Where did you draw that from? I know your now fiance, congratulations, by the way, was really rooting you on. I think he was doing a great job from the side, just kind of supporting you and really getting you pumped. But besides that, I mean, where did you draw that confidence from?
That's such a good question, because I wasn't really sure if I was going to be totally racked with nerves and shutting down day of. And it was the exact opposite, right? Like you saw, I was extremely confident. I was extremely energetic and excited. I honestly just think I missed competing in any kind of sort. I used to swim, and being up on the podiums and hearing the crowd and having the lights on you and, getting out there and whooping ass and showing all of your hard work off. It was like my thing for so long, for over a decade, 13 years. And so I haven't tasted that in so long. So I was just stoked. Like, it just felt like that rush of excitement and adrenaline all over again. So in a way, it felt really familiar.
Yeah, it was very clear up there. And I think people who now have seen it back, despite no presence of a crowd, it really felt like you were in your element and you enjoyed yourself. One of the things I thought live, and as I watched it back on the, when it came out, I guess I kind of second guessed my initial thought. But when I saw you live, I thought you might have stood a little too far from the podium, because it looked like you were extending with your torso a little further out. But watching it back, I'm not so sure that's the case. Can you talk a little bit about what you think, just from what you felt and kind of looking back at the tape? Do you think would you change anything the second time about where you stood and how far you were from Morgan?
Yeah, the way I've been training has been a lot of torque from my hips and twisting from my hips. I have a very long torso and not very long arms. So maybe it appears like I was really far back. But, with a really long torso, if I'm super up close to the podium and right up on her, I'm going to hit the back of her head, you know, and which I almost did in that first hit. My first hit was a club and I did get her ear, and it's because I was too close. So scooching back, I think I can even go a little further back, maybe another half inch back, because of where I was landing the slaps. I mean, even once I was hitting her accurately, it was still a little too high up for my comfort, because it's like one little hair further and it's, you know, you're losing a point or you're getting disqualified. So I feel like I'll probably take a little bit of a step back next time.
And I mean, aside from, you know, obviously you were very energetic. Again, like I mentioned, you look like you're in your element. But when you were listening to your coach, Robert Trujillo, you seemed really locked in on what he was saying. I don't know if you remember what he was telling you, but how important was he as far as making the adjustment? Especially you go into round one, you get a club, you know that now you can't make any other mistakes, right? The second mistake is the end of the match.
Yep.
How did he get you, or what did he do, I should say, to contribute to the outcome of the fight and you not, you know, fouling again?
Robert was a great coach. I'm so grateful to him and have so much love for him. He did so much leading up to my match to help me understand what to expect, how to prepare, how to train. And honestly, day of, I blacked out. Like, I don't really remember what he was saying to me. And I remember at one point, like after I got clubbed, her second hit, I totally disassociated. And you see me just kind of like looking off into the crowd. And it looks like I'm locked in, and I'm not. I'm disassociating. I heard nothing that he said. And then he's talking and talking. And I looked at him and I said, I'm so sorry. I don't know what you just said. And at that point, they're calling me back. And he just kind of looked at me and was like, seriously? And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm in shock right now. So honestly, I think it was just him being there helped me kind of recenter and kind of calm my nervous system. Just knowing that, like, he had this gentle presence. He was very calm. He was very cool and collected. And that's exactly what I needed in that moment, because I was riled up. So I wouldn't say it was the words he gave me day of on stage that really helped. It was just his energy and his presence and all of the work we did prior to the day of.
Go ahead, Brittany.
I think it's a really cool story. I know it. I want you to share it, how you even heard about this and got into it. So share it with us.
Absolutely. So my fiance and I's very good friend, Derek Thompson. Unfortunately, he passed away last month, actually, about 2 weeks before our match. He worked with UFC and was telling us one night, like a year ago, right? Like November last year, about Power Slap and how crazy it was. And all the guys in the kitchen were like, you know, would you do it? Would you do it? And everybody's like, hell no, I would not do it. This is crazy. Like, the people who do this are insane. And I have some liquid courage. And I'm like, I would absolutely do it. Absolutely. Just talking out of my butt, right? Like, completely liquid courage bullshit. So I'm like, yes, absolutely, I would do it. The next day, Derek calls me and he's like, you're going to get a phone call today. And I'm like, excuse me? What do you mean a phone call? And he's like, last night you said that you were going to do Power Slap. You want to do Power Slap? I made an arrangement. You're going to get a phone call. So then I got a phone call from Erica with Power Slap. She's like, oh my gosh, Derek said you want to do this. Absolutely. Tell me everything. And I was like, is this what we're doing? So then I kind of just fell into it and just saw it through. And a year later, had a match and won.
And now you're trying to recruit more girls because you want to go again.
Yes, I want the babes to come. I want them to come. I want the women to infiltrate Power Slap. It is our time to shine. I love that I was able to go up there and show women that it's not that scary and you can do it. And, you know, you can be a badass babe up there being tough and strong and still looking good, still having fun. And why not? Why can't we all be up there, women against women? I would love to see more women matches. I mean, I think that's what people want to see anyways. There's a huge following. There's lots of views every time that there's a match with women. Why not more? We just need people to apply.
Absolutely. If anyone's sitting on the fence, any women out there looking to join Power Slap, as a newcomer who just came to the sport, what would you say to them?
Message me. Let's chat. Let's FaceTime. If you're in Vegas, let's meet up. We can talk about it. You know, if they're on the fence, just take one step forward, ask some questions, put in an application, see if it's something that you're willing to do. Because realistically, you don't want to just sit and wait and stew and not pull the trigger. Just pull the trigger, see where it goes. And if it feels right, do it.
Did you ever have any apprehension at all?
You know, I think once I saw my opponent, I was like, you know, this feels like a fair match. I feel like I have a good shot at potentially winning here, just depending on if my training is better than her training. So I think it really just came down to having enough confidence in my training and the preparation that I put myself through to show up and be prepared. And, you know, like they were saying, I've kind of had like this confidence for no reason from the beginning. And I think that is kind of how I felt this whole time. Now, if I get another match and the girls' arms are the size of yours, Brittany, yeah, I'm going to be a little apprehensive because, you know, I'm primarily lower body strength. I don't have that big of arms. I'm not that muscular up top. So if a woman were to come in, you know, kind of like with your physique, I might be a little bit nervous if they're gonna hit me harder than I hit them.
I think it's so important though, too, like you said, you're lower body dominant. And as you continue to work on your technique and hone in on your power, you're going to learn how to transfer some of that lower body strength to your hit. Yeah. So don't say that, because it was just your first time. Like you said, you know kind of what you need to work on. And you were what were you training for it for like 6 weeks? Is that all you were?
Yeah, I knew it was probably like 8-9 weeks that I knew, but it was like I think I found out through Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving break, I was traveling, we were eating a lot, you know, people are getting sick and stuff. So there was definitely some interruptions getting ready for December 6th. But, you know, I think I could have trained a little bit better, but I did a lot of things that worked, that ended up working in the end. But now I know how to fill in the blanks, which is, you know, great. That's great for me.
So now you're training for it, just waiting to get an opponent and a call. So
yes, I'm taking advantage of the time. I'm sure there's going to be some time that I just sit and be very patient, twiddling my thumbs, but I'm going to be in the gym, killing it, getting stronger, getting more powerful, and just staying hungry for this next match.
I don't know, Lauren, why don't we just go to the Strip and recruit some girls here in Vegas?
Yes,
let's see who looks a little crazy when they're drunk, and we'll recruit them, do the same thing.
Yeah, you're the one that I want to hit me. Come on.
I'll try it. Let's try it.
I'm so down, girl. That's so funny.
Awesome, Lauren. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Look forward to seeing you and your personality continue to shine here in Power Slap and seeing you back up there at the table.
Yeah,
awesome.
Can't wait.
Thank you guys so much. I'm super excited to see you all again.
Awesome.
Bye,
Take care.
Bye.
All right. Lauren Wise joining us. Overall, Brittany, I know you said that you have a bit of a relationship with Lauren outside of both you guys being in Las Vegas. So nice to be able to see that, you know, you got someone locally, and we know that you were training for Power Slap at one point. We know that you're obviously heavily.
Yeah, that's probably better.
Exactly. Well, were you supposed to fight her? Is that actually what's happening?
Yeah. So it's such a funny story. Anyone listening. So Erica, the same person that reached out to her, reached out to me, and they were like, "We have a match for you. This is her." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And so I messaged her. And it's funny because a lot of people, you know, I don't come from any sort of fighting background, and where I'm a coach, and I'm so friendly. And I realized after, I'm like, maybe this isn't the sport to be super friendly with when you're, you know, now that I see how girls interact. But nonetheless, I was super friendly. I was like, "Oh, I'm excited. Let me know if you want to, like, you know, train together or try some things. Like, hopefully we both don't die." And so we just continued on our relationship. And I was so happy that they got a match for her. And I saw her right when I was walking up to the event at Fontainebleau. I saw her, and I was like, "How did it go?" And she doesn't remember telling me this, but she like jumped on me, like trampled me. She's like, "I can't say how I did, but it went really good." So, you know, yeah, that was obviously.
Yeah, that doesn't give it away at all.
Yeah.
Amazing. No, that's great. Great to hear. I mean, obviously with her being a local to Vegas, I'm sure the two of you will continue that relationship, and it'll be exciting next time we see her back up at the table again.
Yeah.
So awesome. Ding. How you been, man?
I'm late to work again. I'm late to work again, dude. This I'm trying to keep up with life. It's not working very well.
You have a lot of kids and more in the way. So
yeah, I know. I'm just reproducing at a rate that's just not normal for any active human. But I did want to say, Brittany, you brought up a great point. Like, I guess comparing men and women and their relationships, it's not much different in the sport. I think generally everybody's kind of cordial. They get along. Some get a little closer than others. And then there's some people who don't like each other, both men on the men's side between the men and on the women's side between the women. But I will say, for those of you who haven't seen, it seemed like in our latest interview with Sheena was sort of, hold on. Sorry about that. It seemed like, Sheena was sort of trying to extend an olive branch, and Jackie was not interested. And if you want context of that, check out the comments. I'm going to mute myself, though. I apologize. I don't know what's going on with my dog.
Oh, good. And the mailman must be joining Ding right now. So, but I think more so where he was going with that is just kind of seeing how, as you alluded to, like, it's a sport that's very unique and different compared to even MMA or any other combat sport, in a sense that the fighters here are much more close-knit. There's much more camaraderie, and, athletes like, their opponent, except for the day that it's there. It's like, okay, I got to go up and do what I got to do to feed my family. When it's all over, we're having beer, together back at the hotel. And so it's quite interesting to kind of see how all that kind of comes to fruition and plays out in the sport as it evolves, and seem like women more so are a little bit more friendlier than the males for the most part. So we'll see. Maybe just because there's still, still only a handful of women, but we'll see as it evolves, the more women that get in the sport, kind of how that, fully evolves out. But let's move on. We're going to bring our next guest in. Got Mr. Duane Crespo, originally started out in the heavyweight division, now moving up to super heavyweight. He's joining Slap News once again. It's been a little while since we talked to Duane. Big personality, good guy. He also, Jeeves, the other member of our team, gave his dad, gave Jeeves the best highlight of his career. The only person to ever recognize Jeeves out in public, Duane Crespo's dad, made his ego 12 times bigger than this room. And still to this day, I'm going to blame Senior Crespo for making Jeeves a superstar.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man.
Yeah, the beard's looking good. What's going on there? You got a beard oil sponsor that's helping that beard grow out, or what?
It's just going on its own right now. I should get a beard sponsor. That's a good idea, but we'll see. Or we just cut it all off and find out what happens,
Yeah, I don't know, buddy. You're a pretty ugly mofo, my man.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. That's for sure.
I'm just bugging you.
I wouldn't let bootleg Calvin Klein talk to me like that, Big Duane. I'm just saying.
What do you mean, dude? He'd fall in your category if he shaved his beard, buddy. You guys could be like twins.
I did it once like 2 years ago. We're good.
Just don't shave it all the way. Just don't shave it all the way.
Yeah, I can't picture it.
It's not good. It's not good. And it's the time I shave is the promo videos that Power Slap still uses with the short beard and
I remember you look much younger in those photos.
Yeah, the one time.
That's funny, dude. That's funny. You seem to be on the sidelines here for a little bit. How hard is it as you sit and wait and want to get another match in Super?
I get that the division has to move on and cycle through, and I've been here for 3 years now in Power Slap, so it's been like a long journey. Get the new faces in, I understand that, but I think I'm like one of the career guys in the sport, so it sucks to like not be super active as much as I want to be. But I'm sure my time will be soon.
Awesome. So are you in constant contact with either Erica or Frank, and they have a plan for you in 2025?
I feel like I bother them too much. They're very busy people. But yeah, I'm not out of the conversation. I'm still a top guy, so I'm pretty sure you'll see me this year.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll school me on the facts. You know more than I do, but guy with the winning percentage like you, not getting that title shot, coming up, being the number one contender at the time of super heavyweight in your only super match. When was that? I guess Power Slap 8. 8. Okay.
Power Slap 8 in late June last year. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, crazy to think. I mean, we're at 11 now. 7 months later, all of a sudden, dude, it seems like things move so quickly in a lot of ways. But there's a ton of super heavyweight fights coming up here in the near future. Obviously, we know Dumpling and the Crazy Hawaiian. Can you help break down that fight and how you think it might go?
So last time they fought, I said that Crazy Hawaiian wouldn't want a long fight because he'll make mistakes and end up losing. I don't think I was wrong. It ended up being a draw. But this time I actually have it in Crazy Hawaiian's favor. He should clean up the mistakes he made, and we saw the clear disadvantage that Dumpling had in a straight up power match. So as long as Crazy Hawaiian can stay clean in a long fight, he should win the rematch.
Yeah, so you think the rule set of power slap is going to favor the Crazy Hawaiian, specifically in this one? And I mean, obviously now the match can very rarely end in a draw.
Yep.
So it looks like we're obviously going to get a definitive winner in this one. When you look at both athletes stylistically, I mean, the Crazy Hawaiian, being, from Hawaii, that kind of Polynesian descent, it's been kind of talked about a lot of times here that they almost don't have necks, the Hawaiians, and how thick and wide they are.
Yeah.
But even when we look at, Dumpling and, the mechanics, and I believe it was on this show last week, we talked about, Dumpling's strike and not actively being able to transfer his power through. There's an impingement in his strike for him to be able to transfer the rotational momentum he's delivering into his strikes and having to reach upwards, because the Crazy Hawaiian is much taller than Dumpling is as well. So, at this point, do you just feel that could be the slight edge that the Hawaiian has over it? And at this point, he knows that a guy like Dumpling, can't put him to sleep?
I feel like that's not really where the edge is for Crazy Hawaiian. I believe that there's no personality on Dumpling when he is up there on the stage. And unfortunately, in the judges, demeanor is a category in where they're scoring. So Crazy Wine, who's celebrating after every hit and defense, and you see that Dumpling takes his time in between rounds, and yeah, he's thinking up there and trying to be smart. But I believe that hurts him in the closer rounds. Like the second round, two judges scored it for Crazy Wine, one scored it for Dumpling. I thought Dumpling won that round, but I understand why the other two would have picked it because of how animated Crazy Wine is, and Dumpling don't show that kind of motion.
Yeah.
As for hitting up, I feel like Dumpling, that is an advantage on his side. Hitting up against a taller opponent can help. Usually it makes your neck snap more in the direction, but Crazy Wine's neck is kind of, big, so it's not really getting up after contact like he normally would, like you saw with Camille. But I still think that is still an offensive advantage for Dumpling.
Absolutely. Ding. Anything for Mr. Duane Crespo?
Duane, you've competed 8 times in Power Slap. I believe, and please correct me if I'm incorrect here, but I believe you have the most wins at the moment. There's a few guys at 5, you're at 6.
Yeah, there's 2 people tied with me, John Davis and Isaiah.
Okay, so just looking at your future again, we talked last time about you come to Super, you beat the number 1 guy, you only go to number 6. Like, have you heard from the promotion? Where do you feel like all of that is at as far as your status with the organization and what your future might look like?
That I can't. I don't know. I don't honestly. I'm in that limbo situation. It's a popularity contest most of the time, and I'm not the most popular Super. I understand that, and I'm not a naturally big boy like the other guys are. They're naturally 400 pounds, and I have to work to get to 290. So I get that, and maybe the image, they're looking in different ways, and maybe that's why I'm ranked lower. But I feel like I'm in a unique position where I do have the most wins in the league. I'm one of the best in the league. You could have me pretty much fight in any division to have like people prove themselves for the title. I feel like you could make me like, hey, we have this upcoming heavyweight. If he beats you, he deserves the title. Like, yeah, that makes sense. Hey, you can fight the Super. If he beats you, he deserves the title. Yeah, that makes sense. So I feel like I'm in a unique scenario where I'm like, I could be in 2 divisions.
I mean, that's a good point. It actually segues perfectly into my next question. After seeing Dorian versus Bell at Power Slap 10, Bell doing things we've never really seen, right? Taking the backward step, just looking a little more out of his element. Dorian seemed to take the strikes a little bit better. Obviously, you have a win over Dorian. Is there any possibility that if in the rematch, Dorian's able to unseat the champion, and for whatever reason that there's no the trilogy doesn't make sense right away, is there a possibility you go back down to 265 and challenge Dorian for the belt?
Yeah, if they ever offer me, I will 100% say yes. I'm not saying no to any fight. It doesn't matter who it's against. I'm definitely saying yes. As for the Dorian rematch, he had his shot to beat the bell. So that's usually what I say when you fight a high level guy, is you have the one time. They don't know their mistakes yet. They don't know what they're doing wrong. I told the bell like, hey, there's some weaknesses in your first round. You might see that against Dorian, and we saw it. Him rock him in the first, and he told me after, he was like, yeah, that makes sense. It's not going to happen again. He's going to fix these mistakes. So the one chance that Dorian had of really beating him was that first time. And it's the same thing with like Dumpling Crazy Wine. Crazy Wine didn't know about the mistakes he was going to make. That was the one time. That was the one time he should fix the mistakes. And yeah, you sometimes you only get the one opportunity to sneak up on people, like Brandon Bordeaux. I believe that was the one time he needed to get Isaiah. Isaiah probably thought that, hey, this guy never knocked out anybody. He's never gonna knock me out. And then what? He put him down twice. Now he knows I have to fix this. This guy's a threat. So
You're always laser in with the analysis, man. That was a really good way to put that.
appreciate it.
What do you think as far as I guess from your perspective in heavyweight? Like, is there a guy right now? There's a lot of new talent in heavyweight from Road to the Title Season 3. Do you think there's somebody that is in that crop of talent that can take the bell out?
I'm gonna say no right now, but they're definitely promising. I think that they shouldn't be thrown in the fire right away. Like we've seen so many times where someone will go right into a championship fight. I feel like if they got like 2 to 3 more fights of like high level fights, we could start having a conversation like, yeah, I don't know who's gonna win the championship fight. Like a lot of promise from like Pono and James Seekman, but like they need a couple more fights, to be. There's a huge gap in talent, like from number 1 to like number 5, and so I just think a couple more fights, you see it, they'll finally catch up.
Awesome. Brittany, any questions for Duane?
Yeah, while you're just kind of waiting and eager, how are you like living your day-to-day life? Because like what if you get a call from Erica tomorrow, like, hey, we have a fight for you in 6 weeks. 6 weeks. I know you have the skill and everything, but isn't, where you're the champion, like isn't sufficient time to necessarily be the best you can be. So are you continuing day to day? Like you're gonna, get a call and you're gonna be up there soon?
I feel like my whole fight career has been on the short notice, the short term fights. Like I've definitely always just said yes to opportunities that came. My last power shot fight against Dane, that was a 9-day notice fight. I was told, hey,
Okay.
you want to move up in the division against number 1 in 9 days notice. Like I have to gain weight. I have to fight a person that's 100 pounds more than me. I'm like, yeah, we'll do it. There's no problem. So I feel like even if like right now there's nothing going on, I'm a stay-home dad. I'm just waiting, and if I get an opportunity to like, hey, fly tomorrow, sure. I still think I'm gonna win. Just that's just usually what's the cards dealt.
So are you, I know you said it's a fight to try and stay with 290. Do you think being a super heavyweight and going against like bigger guys, are you trying to actively like eat more and make sure your weight is at X number, or are you living life a little bit differently compared to last time where you're trying to stay in that weight class?
I feel like if I had to be like a perfect world, I just want to stay at 300. I'm not really trying to push myself to get there really fast. I
Okay.
feel like the skill gap as super isn't where like I really need the weight advantage. I feel like they're not there yet. They make a lot of mistakes to where I could have a lot more time to like naturally grow and do what I'm supposed to do. So I'm not in a hurry to get there. I feel like I don't even check with the scale most days now. So
I'm just jealous. I wish I was actively gaining weight all the time. It sounds, whenever I heard it's miserable, I see guys that have done it and they're force feeding it. And I'm like, I just can't. I'm like a bottomless pit. So if I were you, I'd be at all you could eat buffets and living life.
I feel like when you're gaining weight on a timeline, that's when you're stressing because it doesn't go on as fast as you think. That's why
Yeah.
I'm not. That's why I'm not stressing about it because like it'll happen. Like I said,
Yeah.
I'm not worried about the big gap in weight where I need to be at 300. Where you'll see me like, okay, here's another shake, here's another shake. It's more just like I'm fine right now. I just can't be like 270.
That's smart for the long run, like you said, where you have the skill advantage, not constantly force feeding. I think that will make you have a longer career too, because you're not gonna burn out or have any, health issues that sometimes come along with pushing food like that. So
Absolutely.
I think Dwayne's lying to you. He's not having another shake. Dwayne's got an auto bill membership at Golden Corral.
For real.
Do they have it in Vegas? I don't even know. I've never seen one.
Yeah, there's some in Vegas. Yeah.
Okay. So it was always a figment of my imagination because I've never actually seen a Golden Corral. I've only ever seen the commercials on watching American television. So
there's a million. It's so funny because I was like talking about all you could eat buffets when on Ohio, and my boyfriend pointed to, he's like, that's where they brought me, because there was like 25 cousins. He's like, that's where we go because we can get cheap food for a lot of it. And I was like, oh, I want to go. And he's like, no, you don't.
That's so funny. But we're gonna do something a little fun here. We're gonna have a little fun now. Dwayne knows I'm a fun guy. I make fun of him all the time, and it's all good. Dwayne's a good guy, good heart at it. So we're gonna get into this. We're gonna do Duane Crespo's S tier chart. I think this is going to be exciting. I'm going to take that overlay off so we can see. So we're going to put Duane on the spot. So we've got rankings S, A, B, C, D, E. And yes, I'm going to make you put a power slap striker in F as well.
I figured. So, there we go.
We're going to, hey, man, you're a sucker for punishment sometimes. You join Slap News, you're not getting out easy. So where should we start, Ding? I'm for sure you've seen that done, more of this done. And we started at the top, working our way down, and we're gonna start at the bottom and work our way up. What makes for better TV?
The top, yeah. Make them wait for F.
All right. So we're gonna go. We're gonna start out Dwayne's rankings for the S. I want you to say the name, and I want you to give me a reason why. It's going to make it even more exciting when we get to F, when you explain the reason why.
Dwayne's going to need armed security in Vegas.
I'm definitely going to need security.
We need West Mina.
Feel free to like pitch in like different ideas and like argue with me on like certain points, because I might be ranking people way too low,
Let's go.
No, S is so the way that like these tier rankings should work is like obviously non-biased, but S means superior, like the greatest. Like there shouldn't be a lot of people on that list. It should be like 2 people, maybe 3. Like it should not be a lot. And for like C, I feel like that's middle of the pack, like where you consider a person who's like 50-50, So like if people are like, hey, I should be higher, I think it's just based on like performance only, like not potential, like what you have done already. And obviously, like if you believe you're an S guy and you have 2 fights, that's not happening.
I hear you. Well, let's get into it. Who's your first S fighter?
So S fighter, like I said, not a lot of people on this list. I gotta put Damien the Bell, the champion. You're talking about 5-0 with 4 KOs. He also is the only champion with more than 1 successful defense. He has 3 successful defenses. Everybody else is at 1. So that alone should put him in the category,
I hear you. I think he's definitely up there. Guy that's on a warpath and looking like he's going to reign supreme for quite a while until we see, like you said, that fresh batch from season 3 kind of grow into their own with experience. Looking like he's going to sit up there for a little bit now as we roll on. It's going to get harder as we go. So I'm going to give it to you easy right
now. The Bell disagrees. He disagrees. He believes,
of course he disagrees,
he believes he should be SS.
Yeah, SS? I mean, if there was a category for SS, yeah, he'd be the only one on that category. I'd say there's like 2 or 3 people in regular S. And so, yeah, he's above us, so Makes sense.
Awesome. Your second one, who is it?
So I would say Vern Cathy. So Vern Cathy, you're talking about he is 5-2, 5 KOs. I believe he will win in January, so he will be 6-2, which would tie the most wins and better record in Power Slap, which is mine, 6-2. He is one of 2 people who's never had a foul in Power Slap. There's only 2. So I feel like Vern Cathy's on that list.
Nice. Ding. What do you think of that?
I mean, I think Power Slap, touted him as comeback of the year. It's a little tough because he has faltered. So if you're talking all time, he has suffered defeat. I think that's a big part of being at the tippy top. But I understand the rationale that he's sort of built his way back, and if he can do this in 2 weeks' time, I think then I think you have a little bit of a better case.
I'll say this though. So he has 2 losses. Those were in the very beginning of his career. He's on a win streak right now, but it's not what happens when you lose. Is what happened after you lose. He hasn't lost since like a year and a half ago. So he's been on a path, taking shots, continuing knockouts, no fouls. So yeah, he lost 2 fights, but he has 5 wins right now, 5-2. That's one of the better records in Power Slap. So I just think it's up there.
Absolutely. All right, dude. Anybody else in this S tier?
This is where the comments will like freaking murder me. So there's no one else unless you put myself on there.
All right.
And so if you put me on S, I feel like that
Duane
makes
Crespo in
sense.
there?
Do not read the comments, Dwayne.
I know. They're gonna go crazy, which
don't
is
read
fine.
the comments. It'll come in a second. But Amir is saying that Vern filed against him. I don't know how true that is. I can't remember.
He had a foul. It wasn't. It was called, but they overturned it. So that's technically not a foul.
All right. There we go. We got 3 names: The Bell, Vern Cathy, Duane Crespo in that S tier.
They're gonna hate me. I understand, but hey,
they always hate who's at the top, so it's all good.
Absolutely. All right, let's keep going. The A rank. Break down your criteria of what's here, and let's get some names in it.
So A rank is just a high level. Obviously, it's still elite guys. The S rank is just like a little bit above, but they're right in the category, So this is where you're gonna start hearing more champions and more of like the top 1 guys. This is the category that you want to be like, hey, I'm great. I think like A means like I am great. I'm one of the best there is, period. No need to be butthurt if you're just 1 below S, This is still like Hall of Fame status in my opinion. So awesome. I feel like Crazy Hawaiian's in here. I feel like Wolverine is in here. I don't want to put Dumpling in here right now because I still think he's new in Power Slap standards.
So who's the first one you said?
Crazy Hawaiian.
Crazy, okay. Crazy Hawaiian.
And I already know the comments gonna be like he should be S, but like let's put it. He makes a lot of mistakes. He had his only 1 successful defense. He made mistakes against Dumpling to get a draw in a fight that he should have won. Also, he's never fought anyone with more than 2 wins. It's hard to talk about being a higher level if you're not facing high level talent. So I feel like that's a perfect spot.
All right. Anybody else?
There should be a couple names. You guys could yell out names of who you think is A, and I'll just say yes or no.
Anthony Blackburn.
In the comments?
I would say Anthony Blackburn. Yeah, I would say that's like the cutoff, like a low A rank. Anthony Blackburn. Yeah, he still makes mistakes, but he's right there, like doing everything he's supposed to. So I feel like that's if you're thinking of what an A ranked person is supposed to be, I feel like Anthony Blackburn. That's the standard.
What about Robert Trujillo?
That one's tough. That one's tough. I was thinking about that. Like, for the last couple of days. You know, he's great, but we haven't seen competition.
There you go. I was hoping you'd say it.
So like, he could be A, but honestly, is it the competition? Is he a B rank guy? If you put him against guys like Anthony Blackburn, other talent, you know, in the same category, you get to see where people actually stack up, you know. So I don't know if I would put him super high. I just haven't seen enough.
Fair enough. Isaiah Quiones.
So Isaiah, I wouldn't put him quite yet A. I feel like he's on the grasp of fine tuning everything that he needs to do. We still see mistakes, and yeah, I feel like he should have got comeback of the year, because remember he went 0-2 the first year, and then a 4-0 freaking ride in 2024. You know, I still feel like he's ironing all his little kinks, and we'll probably see him like one of the greats, you know, in the next couple years.
Azael.
Isaiah, yeah, I feel like Isaiah should be an A rank.
Let's fill him in though as you go. So Isaiah, where do you want to put him? I mean, if it's C, put him wherever. Like, I'll just fill it in as we go.
So Isaiah, I'll put him B rank. He's right above mid. I believe he's on a path that's going up, which is crazy because like I feel like the 185 division, they're so new and growing. I feel like no one's gonna be quite above B. You know, I feel like Isaiah's the exception. But everybody else, I feel like they're gonna be right there for now, or lower. You know.
So Azael's what, A?
Yeah, Isaiah. I feel like Isaiah's definitely A. As for just skill category, you know, he sits in 2, 1 no contest. The only person he's lost to is John Davis. Yeah, you can see that there's ways to beat him, but he's a hard fight. The 185ers haven't figured it out yet. So, and he's probably moving division, so I really don't know what's gonna happen.
John Davis.
John Davis. I feel like I have to play his name twice on here. Before shoulder injury, after shoulder injury, you know. I feel like he has to be B. He's definitely very smart out there, but he's definitely you can tell he's in pain every time he throws a strike. The shoulder still bothers him when he throws. You see that little extra hip after follow through to kind of like take away from the shoulder. So I feel like he can't hang with the people that could take shots, which Isaiah did very well.
Slap for cash.
What's the lowest category? Oh, man.
Is that where we're going?
So I don't like putting people in F because like just doing this alone, I feel like is better than most people, you know. But I feel like that is probably where you have to put them. Yeah, I feel like no power, no rotation, nothing like that. No one's up there like worried about him, you know. So I feel like that's probably unfortunately, you know. I hate to put people in F, but
I think I'm gonna give you a hard one.
Here we go.
Darius.
Dude. So what do you consider mid? So like mid I would put like a 50-50 fighter.
You said C.
Bro, this is your show. This is a Duane Crespo takeover, dog. I'm not trying to get no nasty DMs. So good luck.
Hey, I'll get threats all the time, man. It's fine. And if people are, like I said, is nothing to do with potential, has nothing to do with I like people. It's strictly just based on performance, you know. And so I would put Darius at like what I believe in Power Slap. I would put him D. At Power Slap, I would put him D. So like as what he's been doing right now, not really adjusting. He'll make mistakes and then not adjust throughout the fight. He'll just lose and get DQ. Talk about 2 DQs in a row. Then going on the show and barely winning a fight against a person that he should have beat like pretty easily, you know. So like I feel like that's the category.
Corey, you wanna? Yeah. I'm not gonna be nice. So yeah.
Well, Chris Thomas, former champ.
I think Chris is mid, you know. I really do. Yeah, what he's done 5-0, he's 5-2 now, 5 KOs. that's tied for the most KOs in all of Power Slap. So like you have to respect that. But like now guys are getting better at defense. When he had 5 fights was in season 1. He had 5 fights off the bat against people that have never done the sport before. I don't think he does the same thing against people that are understanding defense now. So I feel like that's as mid as you could be. He's still powerful. Yeah, I'd put him in probably C. Yeah.
All right. Russell Rivera.
That's the same thing. If he liked the sport more than he liked knocking out people, he'd be an S for sure. But he only likes like hitting people and knocking them out. He doesn't worry about fouling. He doesn't care about that stuff or the IQ part of it. He just swings to knock your head off. He has 3 wins but 5 KOs. Make that make sense? So like again, that's a pretty mid person. Like he's 3-3. That's 50% right out the gate, you know. So he will. It's either a knockout or DQ. So that's 50-50. That's a coin toss to me. So C.
Gotcha. This one be interesting. Austin Turpin.
So he's a talented guy, but you know, kind of getting in his own head. I believe he could have been a lot better if he just stayed like the path, you know. I would put him still A. I feel like he's still great. He makes a lot of mistakes, but I feel like he's still above a lot of people. If so, I would say like low A, high B. Actually, I would say B since we have Wolverine and A. I think there's a big gap there, so I put Austin as like the high B.
High B. All right, my man.
By requested in the comments, Ryan Wallace.
Ryan Wallace. Who requested this? Ryan Wallace?
Yeah.
So, again, this is based on performance only, not talking about what you're doing in the gym, how you're training. This is strictly just you showed up in the fight, and that's what happens. I have to put him low in the category, even though I do like him a lot. So I have to put him in the E category just from performance alone. But he's very skilled, and he'll show it in the fight, hopefully in the future, you know, just from what we got so far, you know.
Who else is in the comments? Amir?
Also, don't ask to be on here if you don't want my opinion, because it's just, I'm never going to lie. So
I see Amir's in the chat also.
Is Amir asking?
He's not asking, but
yeah.
Why
don't you go to the division? Actually, let's go to the division. And your last opponent, the Hawaiian Hitman.
Yeah. All right, so Hawaiian Hitman. I feel like he's very like decent. I know that there's a lot of mistakes that I knew that he wasn't gonna do. The power wasn't there for me, so I knew that all I had to do was make sure I won rounds. His defense is amazing. I would put him like. I feel like you're not worried about him if you could take shots. If you could take shots, I'm not worried about the longer fights. So I feel like that would have to be like a C, kind of like mid category, because he's either he puts you down or you win the fight, in my opinion, because he's not doing enough to secure rounds, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So if he has the power, you can see it. You've seen him in his last 2 fights before me that he's knocked down people, but he gets fouls. I feel like he's not very high up on there.
Yeah. What about Aaron Turner, who we just seen?
That's interesting because like it's one fight. How do you gauge a fighter off one fight? As a good opponent. I feel like his potential is really up there, but I cannot put him very high. I would argue that the one shot he took was only because Brian was hurt from his first strike that he took. So it wasn't really the best shot he gave back. So I could put Aaron, I feel like as a start at D, that's pretty damn good.
All right, starting to
for
fill
your
this
first
out
fight.
here.
Yeah.
Brittany, anybody you want to get? You want to see Duane get in on the female action here? He's been kind of male biased.
Yes, I was actually going to ask. I was going to be like, why is no one in there? So yes, I would love to see, Jackie and Sheena, the two. Obviously, you knew that question was going to come, and I'm sure they're going to be watching too after their interview. So yeah, where would you rate them?
This is what hurts. Like again, it's based on performance only. It has nothing to do with like what I think how good you're gonna be in the future. So like Jackie, I consider a friend. Like I don't want her being butthurt on being just lower ranked. It's strictly just on performance, you know. She's very new. She's an athlete. She's a beast. But again, like I would have her below C, mid. You're talking about still making fouls. Um, she lost her last fight. She lost her first fight with DQ, so she's 1-2. Yeah, she has the most potential. I believe she has the most potential to be champion. But there's a big skill gap right now. So I'd put her probably D, E. That's probably where you gotta put her, just because it's the beginning. And you're talking about a learning curve from MMA to slap fighting. You have to ignore a lot of the stuff that she's been doing for 20 years, just training, you know. So it's tough.
And what
Sheena.
about
Sheena?
Yeah, yeah.
Sheena. So Sheena, power but no skill. That's what there's a category. There's a lot of them in Power Slap. Uh, Either gonna knock you out or I'm gonna foul out kind of stuff, you know. So I feel like she has to be lower. So I would put her in the same category as Jackie. I feel like that's pretty even based, you know. So
What about Paige Van Zant?
it's a lot of just they're so new. They're making a lot of mistakes, and especially like they're not being taught by people showing the whole game. They're learning from one person, and you could tell that what person that they learned from strictly by how they're performing because they're mimicking them. They're not improving their game whatsoever. So I feel like Amir, fuck it, do me.
Hey, yo.
I feel like Paige isn't there yet. So I actually would put Paige, like again, it's promising, but I feel like that's where you put D and E. Just they're not there yet. They're making so many mistakes. She should have won the fight against Chelsea, but a big mistake made a draw. You know, so
All right, well, let's oblige the chat here, Amir.
performance based. I like the dude. He's
Bro,
a good guy.
every time you start with that, we know that it's just bad. Like you're not helping. You're not helping yourself.
It's
bro.
okay, Duane. I get nervous too with that.
It's just like people are gonna be mad at me.
The internet.
Especially like I know they're gonna be mad at me because I rank people low and myself high. Like you're not supposed to do that. But Amir, I would put in if you had to put someone in the lower category, I would have to. Unfortunately, he's 1-5. Lost I believe 4 out of the 5 fights by knockout. So that's the worst record in all of Power Slap. So unfortunately, I would have to put him F.
F. All right.
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right.
We missed Bryce Jones. Bryce Jones asked a little earlier.
Bryce Jones. He's the new guy from season 3.
Yeah.
I feel like I put him in the same category as Aaron Turner. I feel like off the gate, that's pretty high. He fought against a guy who's done it before and won, so I feel like there's a lot of promise there. He could have a lot of potential. I feel like there's not a lot of mistakes right now, but he's so new, and I feel like that off the gate is pretty good.
Who else are we missing? Anybody else that want to get in here? Any of the strikers?
Brandon Bordeaux. I want to know Brandon Bordeaux.
Brandon Bordeaux, man, that's a lot of potential. I would have to. I feel like B's good. That's where I put Davis and Isaiah. I feel like he jumped up to that. I feel like I saw a lot of good in his last performance. Yeah, there's still a lot of mistakes, but he's growing. He knows he's growing. I feel like he's probably has one of the most potential out of everybody in Power Slap. So I put him B, even though he's still new. That's actually damn good, naturally. For like a newer person, I don't think anyone that new should be that high.
You still think Bordeaux is new? How many fights does he have?
I would.
Yeah.
He had what 2 to 3 fights in the show, and now he's He's 3-1-1.
No,
so
he has five. Yeah.
Yeah, he has 5 fights now. He's 3-1-1. He had 3 fights like right in the show, and then immediately 2 events right after that. So I feel like it's still pretty new, just because he has 5 fights, you know. But yeah, there's a lot of potential. He's still growing. He knows he. I think he's even said it in like interviews and stuff that he made mistakes in Isaiah fight, and now he knows about them. And that's the whole thing about like being new. Like you don't know what you're doing wrong till it happens. Unfortunately, you can't spar in the sport, so you're finding out on the job, which sucks, you know.
Mm-hmm. Fan favorite Alan Klingbeil.
Go ahead.
Alan Klingbeil. I wish he would not get too excited up there because he has a lot of talent. But again, performance based, he makes too many mistakes. I remember giving him advice on the abandon the fast windup till you need it, and I keep seeing that a lot more. He feel like it's working, but it's bit him in the butt a couple times. I would put him in the mid, low, so D. I'll put him in like D. There's a lot of potential there, but like he gets too excited up there. He needs to slow down.
All right. Anybody else? Brittany?
McKinney Manu. Oh, here, look.
McKinney?
Yeah.
I like the dude. I would have to put him in D. And yes, people are gonna be like he's 3-0, but again, performance. 2 of his fights were by DQ win. Not that he makes mistakes. So like I could argue if the other guys didn't have the DQ wins, would he have DQ'd himself in those same fights? So that's hard to tell. I haven't seen anything definitive except for one fight, the one win. So 3-0, but still haven't seen much. So I would put him that low.
Well, you got Litchy Daddy Slimy in your corner. And Wes Mina, hit up Duane. He needs security in Vegas.
Oh, please, man. Yeah.
They're gonna have to start like a fantasy league now.
Yeah, I'm wearing bulletproof vest where I go now.
Another one. Donnie Van Heerden. I'm curious your thoughts on him.
Okay, so Danny, he's gotten better. I wouldn't say gotten better. I should say we're seeing a lot more. So I don't know if he's gotten better over the years, but I remember the first couple matches we saw, we haven't seen much. The verbal tap out from his first opponent, so we didn't get to see a whole match. You're talking about the KO against Cody Vallow, so I didn't get to see much there. Then he fouls Manu. Get to see a lot in the Crazy Wine fight, but he made a lot of mistakes there. In a fight that Crazy Wine made mistakes too, you should be winning fights when people make mistakes, you know? So he just made more mistakes that day. He did great in his last fight. I feel like after this one in January, I'll get to have a real gauge on where to actually put him skill-wise, because we're seeing more and more from him. I would put him probably mid, like just above Manu, FC. I feel like, yeah, and Hitman. I feel like that's great, yeah. But we're seeing more and more from him. He's a great dude, awesome guy. You know, so.
All right, got to fill out some ranks here. We're gonna ask you about Paul Teague.
Paul Teague. Oh, so you just want to put people low?
Nah. Side fighters only.
You just want to put people low.
No.
All right, I'll stop now. We're good. Party's over. I wrecked it. I broke the damn toy.
Yeah, that's good, man.
Radio silence.
How many screenshots are we going to see of this now, Pastor? How?
Oh, it's game. This is up already, I'm sure.
Hey, people, I get it. I understand.
It's got Dwayne's name and face on it, though. Thank God.
Yeah. I was saying,
now I can see you without a beard.
I get it. I understand it. Just again, it's just performance based. It's just what they've done right now. Take the ego out of it. You're talking about people that could get better in the sport. There's so much that people haven't learned yet on different strikes. You can see it up there. Like once they hit someone, you know exactly what they're gonna do in 3 rounds. They're not gonna change it up. They're not gonna change tempo. They're nothing. Like nothing's. You know what the whole fight's gonna be after 1 round. And I've had conversations with you guys during fights before, and calling it as soon as it happens. You know, it's that same thing. People aren't growing fast enough just because there's no coaching, and I get it, but like, there's no reason to be butthurt. Anybody could get better in sport, and it all changes. Like the S guys as soon as you lose, you go down. That's just how rankings are. It's just performance based. Like if I lose my next fight, I would happily put myself down. Like, and then people go up. You beat me, it means a lot. I understand it.
I hear you, my man. Appreciate you joining us, breaking that down, getting to hear from you. Look forward to seeing you back up there at the table and providing us with entertainment, I think, for the entire week.
Yeah,
and
this guy's a hero, dude. You just took the flack off of us for you're a hero.
Awesome, my man. Appreciate you, Duane. Much love, much respect. Keep training hard, and we'll see you back up there at the table.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Bye,
Take care. All right. Duane Crespo, have a little fun, playing little games. Overall,
he's backstage busting out laughing right now. he's about to get a life insurance policy. He can't believe what he just did.
It's all good. All fun and games until you rank Slap for Cash with an F. All good. Brittany, what did you think of that? First time you seen it happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun, right? I mean, he's a wealth of knowledge of the sport, been there since the beginning, and he was fast. I feel like if he wasn't live, he would have been even faster because he knew, because he was like, oh, that person's teeter-tottering between this and that. I was obviously a little surprised about placing the ladies all in the same category, but I guess to his, they haven't fought as much, but I don't know if maybe he's just trying to stir the pot a little bit too. It seemed with that.
Yeah,
so
it's tough. I would put Sheena, Jackie Page, like Jackie Page together, Sheena above. With respect, obviously Jackie beat her, she knocked her out, but I'm sorry, she didn't beat her. She knocked her out, but it was a DQ. So we just can't call that a knockout because it wasn't officially declared a knockout. So if you struck her within the rule set, would you still have knocked her out? That's the question I need answered before I can say Jackie could go up to the same tier or Sheena can go down to the same tier. And Jackie's last performance wasn't, the greatest. She lost to a debutante. No, not something that we really want to see.
And I was kind of shocked, I guess, that he placed the Crazy Hawaiian in the A versus the S just because, 14 wins. He had some good points, but I was appreciative of his knowledge because it's like when I think of someone who is just a beast in the sport, who I would could never see losing, it'd be the Crazy Hawaiian. So it was really interesting, to see him below like Blackburn and just kind of shocked by that. But I'm learning too.
I agree with you. That's a great point.
Yeah.
But those guys aren't exchanging Christmas cards, if I'm being honest. So maybe that bias entered up a little bit.
Yeah.
Corey, did we talk about the fights? New fights that have been announced?
A little bit, but this is breaking news 8 minutes ago. I'm not sure if it is or not, but is that Ryan Garcia with Turkey signing a contract? Might look. It's on Turkey's IG.
Okay.
Check it out. That could be interesting. Ryan Garcia, very polarizing
Turkey,
guy.
But yes, that's Ryan Garcia.
It is interesting. Yeah, he was super polarizing
for the Ring magazine. The deal is done. Opponent is set. Yeah, it is probably.
Interesting.
I mean, Garcia is banned from the WBC, so if he wants to box professionally, he would need to go to the Middle East.
Interesting.
I would assume that's him and Devin Haney, if I had to guess.
Gotcha. Yeah, exciting news, I guess, for the fans of Garcia.
Nope. This is slap. Not interested in boxing. Nope.
All right, back to slap then. Guess we're not going to see him in power slap. I'm sure some people would welcome him in power slap.
Ryan Garcia?
Yeah, for sure. I think so. But yeah, I mean, we touched on a little bit off the top. We said Luke Simons going up against Garrett Blakesley. Interesting matchup to say the least. How do you think these are going to? I mean, these are the superstars from season 2, season 3, squaring off this light heavyweight division.
Well, I mean, both of these guys have something they got to fix. Blakesley with the fouls, Luke with the flinching. A lot of power. I'll say that. A lot of power. But honestly, my take, and I don't mean any offense by this, but Blakesley's head hasn't been in the game. The dude's posting crazy stuff. Like, I don't think he needs to be up there. That's my personal opinion. I think I'd like to see Garrett Blakeslee get right. I'd like to see him, figure out what's going on. Whatever he's battling, I'd like to see him overcome it and then go up there. Because I think Luke Simons, on the contrary, is in a wonderful place. I think Luke Simons is as confident as he's ever been. I think this was extremely important for his own growth. I don't think Blakeslee goes out there and has a clean fight, and I don't think he has a good performance. But I think that this match has the potential to be one of those if he's in the right headspace. I just don't think he is. Add the fact that he's going halfway across the world. He hasn't competed in a long time. I'm not sold.
Yeah.
Ditto ding. I didn't even think about not competing in so long and then having to travel.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. We'll see how it kind of all unfolds. I mean, light heavyweight division, always one of the most exciting divisions, mix of power and athleticism for sure. The next matchup, a little interesting to say, Wes Minna going up against Devin Jenkins. This match could take place in the heavyweight division. What does this do for either striker? Because, I mean, Wes Minna, who we've seen victorious, guy ranked, I believe, number 10 in the division. I mean, a victory against the guy who's not currently ranked, what does it do for him and his stock? A guy like Devin Jenkins coming in, obviously he has more to gain from this match. Dane, where do we think this kind of falls and how this match came about and really what it's going to do for the stock of each of these guys, depending on the outcome?
I think if you look at Devin, I know you've spoken to Devin, I think twice before. He has a real understanding of the mechanical aspects of this from his personal training background, kind of really understanding the different pieces of the body, how they all work together in unison, how you can leverage those things to sort of make things more powerful. And I'd like to see him be able to showcase that. I'd like to see him sort of lead by example in that. I hear him talking about it. He didn't have the opportunity to showcase that on the show because he went up against a guy. Some people would consider him an animal named Pono Pao. And so I think for him, this gives him an opportunity to get a win on the board and keep himself in the race. He loses this fight, I don't think we see Devin Jenkins again. On the flip side, Wes fights a debutante, right? Again, also had a difficulty on the show. Fights a debutante, is able to get through him, somebody who it felt like he had a decent amount of steam behind him, right? The arm wrestling looked like the big guy. He was the Hulk. Of course, we all know at this point in time, by now, this is slap fighting. It doesn't matter. You could be massive. You could be really small, and you could knock somebody out. You could be huge and get knocked out. Like that part of it really does not matter. But he goes out there. He has a good performance, and I think in some ways redeems himself, but it's on the prelims. He gets moved up to the card here. That's a guarantee at this point in time. He's already said that publicly. He's been told by the promotion that he will be on the broadcast live. I think for him it's a confidence thing because, to go into your first fight, get knocked out like that, and then come back and you beat somebody who's never done this before. Devin Jenkins hasn't had a massive career, but he's been up there. He knows what those nerves are. And again, since that time, I think the reason that he got this opportunity is because he stayed committed. So I think this does help Wes. I think this helps Wes in the confidence department. And I think it also helps Wes as far as, okay, this guy can actually be a legitimate challenger in the division because there's some guys who, aren't necessarily extremely powerful, but are in the heavyweight division. They are in the rankings and they win fights. On the flip side, when you look at Devin Jenkins, obviously he's not ranked. He doesn't have any wins. This gives him an opportunity. I agree with your assessment. I think Devin has a lot more to gain in this match, but I think Wes is smart in taking this and understanding that, it's better to say yes than to pass up an opportunity.
For sure. I think it's almost a show me for Wes Minna in regards to what the brass of Power Slap think. They may not be 100% sold on Wes Minna. You did it once, can you do it twice? And I think this is kind of that get right to really solidify for the brass of Power Slap and what they think. And as you said, I mean, Wes Minna coming in with with the momentum in this one. And in a lot of ways, and I know you're going to jump on me for saying this, Ding, and you always do, I actually think they're almost the same striker in a lot of ways, more than just the physical appearance. But I think in a lot of ways, the way they approach this, the mentality, the training, the technique, I think these guys are very, very similar in actual, approach to Power Slap. And so we'll see really, the outcome of this one and who's able to come victorious at Power Slap 11.
I'm going to reserve my comments for after the show.
Oh, spicy.
It's all good. I got a short one for you though. I'm gonna start with you, Brittany, first on this one. I only got 3 today, okay? But we're gonna go. Who is the Charmander of Power Slap?
So like blowing smoke out. Only because of something he was doing. Danny, the Pitbull. Because when I first met him, he was like making all these like TikTok, Instagram things, and he was like I don't know, he was like screaming in my face, and I just felt like he was a ball of fire. So that's the first thing that came to mind with him.
You, me, collab, Instagram.
Yes. And I was like, this is my first time here. I'm trying to make sure I'm not in the way. And he was like screaming at me. It was so funny because it was all in good fun, right? But then at Power Slap 10, he saw my partner and he like ran up to him and was like, "You didn't accept my collab." And he was like, "It was a Britney. I wasn't even there, dude." So yeah, I'm just gonna always tease him about that now.
No, and that's why he's got so many followers. The dude's persistent. I've never met anybody who works harder than him.
Who do you think, Ding? The Charmander of Power Slap?
I mean, Charmander was small but feisty. I'll go with Robert Trujillo.
Okay.
That's better than it. I didn't even think of the small thing.
All right. Do you want my opinion or no?
Yeah.
I think KO Chris Thomas is the Charmander of Power Slap. That's what I think.
You want to add some context to that?
I says, yeah, you're so mysterious.
I mean, Chris he's infamous online, man. He's got a lot of good one-liners. He's got a lot to say. People in his division, outside of his division, and he's always spitting fire. So I'm up for it.
Is KO Chris most hated striker?
Possibly
by his peers.
Possibly.
I think he's up there. I think he's up there with most enemies achieved.
Yeah. All right. The Ambitious Angel. This Gary V.
Oh, the Ambitious Angel.
Nice plug.
VFriends.com.
Created Gary
No
V.
affiliation. It is, man.
VFriends.com/Corey Swearcast. With my referral code. That's a hard one. I think of a female immediately.
Well, who's the Ambitious Angel?
Robin Worship.
Okay. I'm gonna go Chelsea Dodson. I'm gonna go Chelsea Dodson on that one.
Brittany?
I was honestly gonna say it, maybe it's because it's fresh in my mind, but Lauren, just because she's so like, I like getting slapped, like happy go lucky, like about it.
That's awesome. All right, one last one. This is an easy one for Ding, though. Hopefully we can see it. Godzilla and King Kong.
Oh, come on, man. You know this. I've already done this whole thing.
Well, you can do it.
That would be the Dumpling and the Crazy Hawaiian, sir. And if I have to pick who's who, I'm going to say Dumpling is Godzilla and Hawaiian's King Kong.
There we go. Going down. Power slap.
Very fair.
Number 11. I did it as the finisher to the show, Ding.
No, I got a real good finisher. I'm going to say this. I'm going to do something totally off script. Probably going to yell that when I'm done. I'm not going to tell you what, but what I will tell you is there is going to be some serious breaking news coming about the Power Slap 11 card at some point in time. I don't know exactly when. It's not going to be news you want to hear, but you will hear it from us. And stay tuned.